What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Run Your Mouth Podcast. It's nice to be with you guys. Monday morning, back from, where was I? Dallas. Fun fucking shows with Davey Smith. I had a great time. Looking forward. Going to be in Detroit this weekend. And also, if you're in the New York City area, I'm going to be starting to do Wednesday nights from the Barrow Street Ale House. They've got a legendary jazz club in that basement. Apparently, I believe Miles Davis and John Coltrane maybe even recorded albums out of there. But small room, fits about 40, maybe 50 people. Perfect sound in that room. It's a nice little setting. And use promo code FIRE. You get $5 tickets. So go over to my Eventbrite, promo code FIRE, $5 tickets. I'm going to be probably hosting every Wednesday, working on my New York City chops, working the new jokes for the roads, putting up all my New York City friends. And I got a bunch of friends at this point who are unbelievably hilarious comedians that you're not going to be seeing at other comedy clubs because comedy clubs mostly don't know what they're doing. They're not booking some really incredibly funny people. So coming out, and you can stick around afterwards. There's a jazz show. So this is the great, dude, if you're a cheap fucking Jew and you're looking for something to impress your lady, $5 tickets. You could spend 4 hours at this establishment watching the comedy show and the jazz afterwards. And the tickets aren't going to be $5 forever. At some point, I'm going to build this thing into the hottest ticket in New York City, and you're going to be talking about the days that you could get in for just $5. I mean, you can't even get a Subway footlong for that price because they're not actually a foot long. You got to get like 4 of them and then merge them together and then be making diarrhea for 3 weeks because that's going to fuck your shit up. Dude, the last time I ate Subway, and I didn't even eat good Subway. I ate something simple like a turkey. By the way, take advantage of being fat while you're young. Really overeating's a young man's game. Like, I remember when you could just pull into a Subway, eat a meatball sub, think it was delicious, and not just have to ruin an entire day. And obviously, it wasn't, like, as delicious as, like, legitimately delicious food. I mean, we all know. I'm a sandwich expert here, so I wasn't taking an opportunity to endorse Subway sandwiches. I was trying to endorse being a younger man and just being able to eat, like, a box of cereal and not having it ruin your life. And that's what we should be telling kids. Forget doing drugs. Just eat sugar and enjoy yourself while you're young. There's like a window in there where you're like 12 and 14 and you could just pound donuts and stuff and not have it ruin your life. So take advantage. That's what you should be teaching your kids. Enjoy the sugar while you can. All right, listen. Let's get into some news topics. Come out for my show though, and let's talk about we're breaking balloon barriers. I mean, it's time as a nation that we start taking balloons seriously. We have had administration out of administration just letting balloons float around in our skies and no one seems to care about it. Suddenly, this is 2023, and when our country's going broke and we got to start saving money and slashing Social Security and Medicare because obviously those things aren't even paid for. But the thing that we need to start taking seriously is these balloons in our skies. For too many years, our politicians have been ignoring the inanimate floating objects that are just floating above us and pretending like they aren't there. And now that we've broken the balloon barrier, now that's all you're ever going to hear about is these fucking balloons. Hold on one second. Drop my mouse. Don't want everyone seeing all the porn I've been watching. I don't want that to start playing automatically. That wouldn't be a win. We're trying to stay focused and talk about these balloons in our skies. It's like when one guy broke the 5-minute mile, and then everyone could break the 5-minute mile. And now since one guy managed to get a photograph of probably one of our own government surveillance balloons that they're trying to blame on the Chinese, now all of a sudden it's nothing but balloons all the time. And the government, it's unlike the border. I mean, you get border crossings every single day. You get pictures of people coming across the border. They don't start taking that shit seriously. You get trains that are getting derailed and exploding, and they're talking about how pipelines are the bigger problem. We can't have pipelines because if you get pipelines, they're going through the woods, you might have environmental factors. That's why we need to have trains. Trains are safer than the pipelines. So don't be, we got to support the industries that, I forget the guy's name, is invested in. And so instead of looking at these fucking railroads that are exploded, about problems at the borders, what we need to get serious about is the balloons. And so we're putting all of our resources into that. Government, instead of building up walls, they're going to put these big fucking turret things like in the World War II movies. They're going to be all over the country. Your sirens are going to go off. You're going to hear that there's a balloon. Everyone in the entire town is going to rush to get into that turret thing. You sit in it, fucking blast balloons out of the fucking sky. That's the world we're going to be living in. All right, Balloon Unit 6. That's going to be like the most advanced thing. And until immigrants realize that balloons are the way to get in, and then they tell you can't be shooting down the balloons anymore. But we're not there yet. We're still in the early stages of unregistered balloon activity. What the fuck you people think is going on in the balloons? There's never been a story that has made less sense to me in all of my media coverage, because when government steps up and goes, yeah, no, that's Chinese spies, they wouldn't admit to that kind of shit. What do you think? It's our own government surveilling us? You think that they're going to pretend like there's aliens, that they can lock us back into our homes? What is it about being inside of our homes that makes the government feel so good about themselves? What is it about everyone not engaging in actual lives that makes the government go, oh, we're doing our job well? If we've scared everyone into, it's like the government's agoraphobic, and so they want all of us to be agoraphobic too, because for some reason that makes them feel better. Or they just want the entire world for themselves. They already have access to the nicest places with all the wealth, but what they really want to do is just be able to go out to Times Square in the middle of the day. I don't even know why. There's nothing exciting about Times Square. It's human fucking flies showing up because there's a bunch of bright lights, and then realizing, oh, we're a bunch of flies, there's nothing here. And then they start getting antsy about the fact that they spend so much money showing up to Times Square and realizing that there's nothing there. And then they start falling for fucking tourist traps because everyone's like, here, buy this ticket and you can have fun. And then they're like, shit, well, I was here and I need to start having some fun. And then you just start spending more and more money. It's like when you're at the casino and you're trying to make back the value of your own vacations, you just keep gambling and gambling. Times Square is the same way. They sucker you there with the bright lights and you think it's going to be fun, and then you realize that it's just overly congested and crowded with a bunch of people, as if you're on a Disney line for a ride that doesn't even exist. You're like, why am I in this line of people? There's no fun ride at the end of this thing, and then you just keep getting suckered and spending more and more money. But we were trying to talk about the balloons in our skies. We weren't trying to go off on Times Square. Dude, if they tell us that there's aliens out there and like there's some sort of a radiation, I mean, at this point, is anyone going to believe them? I feel like there could actually be a threat, and at this point, I'll be like, I'm going to have to see that threat for myself. That's what's going to happen. That's where I'm at. Where are you guys coming in on this thing? If they actually start, they got satellites that can project imagery, and they can make it look like there's UFOs and other shit just to scare us into thinking that there's some enemy, and that's why they need more control over us. Are you guys going to believe them? Because I'm pretty sure I might be the first to get anally raped. That might be what happens, is government gives you a fair warning, and they're like, listen, aliens don't know how to open up doors, so as long as you stay inside your house, you're going to be fine. And I'm going to be like, fuck that. I'm going to the gym to work out. I mean, well, not the gym, because they will have closed that, but maybe you can still do park workouts unless the cops come and they tell you that sunlight's going to be bad for your health and that you can't wear a mask and nobody can play outdoors because there's a supposed alien regime out there. And then what they do is they start roping it off. And then I'll be the one guy who's out there looking all fit and sweaty. I'll be the first to get raped by the aliens. All right. Now, we did a live Part of the Problem podcast from the Dallas Comedy Club. And someone in the audience asked me about the Hawaii lasers, the Hawaii green matrixy lasers. And when this lady asked me that question, I responded and asked her, what drugs are you taking, and how come you haven't shared them? Because that's the only way to react to people telling you about Hawaii lasers. And I feel like I'm looking at everything on Twitter. If there's anything that's fucking insane and it's coming up on Twitter, I should be aware of it. I shouldn't be finding out about these things from within a comedy club by some random lady who sounds like she's on drugs. But then apparently she was 100% correct. And I don't know if you guys have seen this footage yet of the lasers over Hawaii that now China's taking credit, or they're blaming it on China. But in terms of, I guess, the ability to either government's got some fucking creepy-ass technology, and every once in a while they mess up and their technology gets caught on camera, and then they got to be like, oh yeah, that's we're just projecting things. Oh yeah, that's just our weather scanners. Or we managed to get like a view of the Matrix or whatever the actual system of overlords are here. The actual aliens are above us, and then government's got to, because they're in cahoots with those creatures, they got to be like, no, that was our weather balloon scanning technology. So here, I will play this for you guys. This is, live from the most credible sources on the internet. Oh shit, where's my weather balloon video? Where'd I move that to? I mean, it wasn't a weather balloon video. It was the... Oh, come on. I did not... we'll just go to YouTube. We'll go to YouTube. I can find this real quick for everybody. You guys can talk amongst yourselves in the chat. I'm actually... You know what? I'm going to put... Ah, shit, that's not there either. All right. We'll get this. Hold on 1 second. Oh. That's how retarded I am. It's just the next slide, everybody. It's right there. It was right there the whole time. Here you go. Everyone, you can see the Chinese lasers that are in our skies. You thought you were concerned about weather balloons. What you got to be concerned about are the sensors that every once in a while, they just come from above, and they show you the fence that won't let you actually get to the center of the world. Because if you go to the North Pole, there's a big hole in there. You guys seeing these lasers? Hold on, you'll see it. Brights up, comes down. Literally looks like the fence at the edge of our reality. And my guess, they're gonna start projecting shit. What do you guys think? Here, Ray Camp coming in, letting us know the balloon war's begun. They have with the Yoda talk. That's better than the World War balloon has begun. Yeah, start building your balloons now. That's going to be the terrible Disney movie that makes no sense, where the world gets ruined and everyone's got to go float up in their balloons, Pirates of the Balloon Beans, and then you got to go up there and we have to sword fight between people's balloons, where you try and jump onto other people's balloons, steal their resources, and then you got to deflate their balloons so that they got to go back to the world, and then once they go down, they're finished. But every once in a while, new people find resources somehow, and then they come up with it, and then it's Balloon Wars 2023. Corona's over. Everyone tries to escape their own continent. And now all we can do is float up in the ether and fight each other in each other's balloons. All right, here's a random question, and then we'll get back into the serious news topics, because I got more balloon coverage for you. Do women's flannels fit better? Because I'm pretty sure I'm wearing a women's flannel right now. I bought it. I was in Marshall's the other day. I had to scramble. And this is going to be the next topic as well, because I haven't picked up laundry in a while, and I was out of underwear. And then I realized I was flying the next day, and I needed underwear. Stat. All out of sheath. So I ran over to Marshall's, and I was like, I'll be able to pick up some underwear. All crappy underwear. Stick with your sheaths. Which, by the way, here's another sheath thing that I forgot about, is loose elastic band underwear, because I got fresh undies. Fresh undies shouldn't have been with loose elastic bands, and I was in front of this comedy club, and I was trying to piece together the production gear, and I had Plumber Crack City. I had Plumber Crack City so bad that one of the waiters came up to me and started hitting on me because he could see the full spectrum of my rectum, and he just couldn't resist my juicy buns. And he was like, you're literally flashing everyone your asshole. And I was so in the zone with the production I was doing, I didn't even realize that there was, and I wanted to air out my ass anyways. I didn't get a chance to do it at the hotel. Sometimes you're really crunched for time trying to get to the comedy club so you could set up gear for the production thing. But then as I was walking around, I kept having to pull up fucking underwear from it, and I forgot about the shitty elastic bands of shitty underwear, which is just another reason why you should be wearing sheath. You go to sheathunderwear.com, you use promo code RYM. Not only are you going to be wearing the greatest underwear, the most comfortable underwear that's ever graced the balls of man, but also you're not going to be dealing with plumber cracks, because the elastic band actually works and it actually stays up, so your underwear isn't just falling down your ass crack under your ass and then and once it goes over the circumference, the roundedness of your ass, it gets to that halfway point. That's it. It's like the fiscal cliff. Once you're over, starts sinking fast. All right. Anyways, I was trying to talk about women's flannels, because that might be my new look. I don't know why I seem to have the flattest chest while wearing women's flannels. Is that what they're doing? They're making flannels for men that accentuate your tits, and then flannels for big titty dykey ladies that want to hide their tits. Maybe the best shirts for men with tits are actually the dykey women lesbian flannels, because those are actually made to have an optical illusion like you don't have tits. So if you're a dude and you're dealing with your tits and you don't want to go to the gym, you're sick of doing your push-ups, you just got to buy yourself lady flannels. Lady flannels will make yourself, maybe I'll start that website. Maybe I'll talk to Robert from Sheath about a new company called ladymanflannels.com, where it's dykey flannels that button like a lady's thing from the other side, but do the best job of making it look like you got a big chiseled chest. So I don't know. Anyone else, any other men out here experimenting with lady flannels that are also completely heterosexual and don't otherwise want to be dressing like a lady? All right. People who take shit jobs too seriously. We're going to hold that for the next episode. I watched a mental breakdown of a flight attendant in LaGuardia Airport, and I do have some footage from it, so maybe I'll take the time to actually compile that footage, because I see Steven's here. We've got some information regarding Corona, and I got Steven, our Wonder Boy non-scientist. We will be getting to him in a couple minutes, so I'm going to come back to that topic shortly. Egg prices. I saw an article on Zero Hedge the other day that the egg price bubble has burst. Now that they've got something new for us to panic about with these fake balloons up in our skies, we can have reasonably priced eggs again. They're moving on to the next thing. Getting rid of all of our eggs is no longer the storyline. The new storyline, how many of you guys really experienced not being able to get eggs? Or that eggs really got out of control with their pricing? Because at my local grade A shopping mart, I noticed more than once that I showed up and the eggs were not well stocked. They weren't out of eggs, but they weren't well stocked. But then I went to the other markets. I went to my Trader Joe's, I went to my Whole Foods, and they had plenty of brown eggs, not at jacked up prices. At the same thing, I kind of basically always remember eggs costing. And so you know what I did? Instead of buying one thing of eggs, I went ahead and I bought myself 2 things of eggs. I was like, you know what? Just in case there's a week where I can't get eggs, I'll have 2 things of eggs. And I was like, this is how it happens. Everyone, instead of buying 1 thing of eggs, they get nervous they won't be able to get enough eggs. They buy 3 or 4 things of eggs, and then nobody has any eggs because we all panic consume. We get out there. They tell us that we're not going to be able to have any toilet paper. They tell you you're going to be having to shit on your hands and fucking rub your ass on the walls. Shower if you can, if there's even running water. They tell you might have to go out into the street, pick up grass off your neighbor's lawn, and clean yourself like a dog, where you try and get yourself invited over your neighbor's house and you're just going across the carpet rug, pulling with your legs and trying to get the fucking carpet fabrics right up in your asshole just to clean yourself out. That's what they tell us is going to happen. I watch the news. I'm in the know. But then all of a sudden, by a month later, they're like, yeah, there's not going to be an egg problem anymore. Are there ever any actual real problems? You people in the chat, did you run into that eggs were unavailable? How did that happen with gas, too? For all this thing of like because I'm usually defending, hey, the market works, and then some people just go and like that these companies can't collude. But are they doing that? Like what happened with gas prices before the election? They're all the way through the roof, and then they're like, all right, we'll go back to normal prices now. Is someone just like literally just controlling this shit every once in a while just to get us all to panic about random shit all the time? All right, that's all I had on egg prices. Next up is, can we let Leo be a creep in peace? And I say that because I fear for the women he's hanging out with. Because, listen, let's just be realistic here. If you manage to be 55, not completely fat, and you're like the biggest celebrity on earth, you're going to be able to be with younger women. Now, is being with 18, 19-year-olds completely creepy? Kind of. I mean, what are you talking about? You can't even have a drink with them. That's like the weirdest part. At least at 21, you can have a drink, and you can be like, you're creepy. I feel like 27 is the right age. I feel like 27 to 34. Like, that should be the age that you're hanging out with. Like, 27 is like an adult. They're younger than you, but they're like adult-like. 24, still in like that college range. You're kind of being a creep. But I guess at some point, you've earned it. And then, like, I guess the 19-year-old model who gets to hang out with Leonardo DiCaprio, that's like the badge of honor. I mean, she probably gets to put that on her resume so that she can get more modeling work, is that, hey, I'm the model that Leo DiCaprio brought on the boat next week. And I bet that's a networking opportunity. And we're out here and we're shaming Leonardo DiCaprio for everything he's accomplished in life that allows him to hang out with these 19-year-old women. He might stop letting them outdoors. You know, at the moment, at least he's bringing them on the boat. He's letting them suntan. He's letting them be out in public. And he's probably not going to stop having sex with 19-year-olds. So if anything, you're ruining it for the 19-year-olds by making it a shameful activity. And so that's on you, media, for putting Leo in a spot where he's going to have to start just keeping these 19-year-olds in the basement. So I'm just trying to point out the costs of shaming Leonardo DiCaprio. All right. We're going to talk about Yoel Roth, and we're going to talk about Scott Adams. But before I do, we might as well bring on Steven, because I feel like Steven will have insight on both these topics. I do want to say a note about responding to Scott Adams before I bring on Mr. Steven, our resident non-scientist. I feel like, all right, the whole thing in terms of responding, it feels to me like it's a losing game, and it feels like a losing game for a couple reasons. So Scott Adams responded to us on the Part of the Problem podcast, more responding to Dave, which is fine because I was kind of sitting there and just being an asshole anyways. In his response, I feel like he made a couple We're not going to do a full breakdown. I'm letting you guys know that. We're not playing that. We ain't doing a full breakdown. I do feel like there were some logical binaries, but I feel like the entire thing here is a losing game for a couple reasons. One is we're shifting the narrative where they're trying to have a very specific conversation of like, well, how did you know that the vaccine would cause injuries? And the answer is we never said that. What we said was, why is the government trying to force us to take something? Oh, I think we probably have to come down from YouTube now. Ah, shit. You know what? I'm changing the order here. Motherfucker. YouTube really throws things off. See that Steven stepped away, so we're going to talk about Yoel Roth for a minute. Then we'll respond to Scott Adams so that we can stay on YouTube for a few minutes longer here. So Yoel Roth was up in front of Congress. They're giving him shit for all the collusion between big tech and government. In my opinion, it was somewhat a bad showcase for the Republicans, and that if you thought the Republicans were going to take over and that they're going to start investigating the Hunter Bidens, they're going to start investigating why all this money is going to Ukraine, they're going to get to the bottom of just how much collusion there is between big tech and government, I'd give them a C grade. It's cool that they had the meeting, but they didn't have like enough bombshell, hey, we've done our homework and we can bust these people type energy. Now, there was one very good moment where I thought Yoel Roth got caught just absolutely and completely lying. It's from this pretty lawyer lady. Looks like she went to the same hot lawyer school as Johnny Depp's lawyer. But they're clearly playing a game here where, for one, I mean, Yoel Roth wouldn't even cop to the fact that they were ever intimidated by the FBI, which, like, right off the bat, it's very clear. You guys have you create an entire structure by which you have to have two separate teams. Like, you seem to very well organize yourself to basically, at a minimum, accommodate the requests of the FBI. And so why is this guy answering every question in a way that it seems like he's working for the FBI? Or like he had a meeting where he was coached and he was like, hey, we got to make sure, you know what I mean? It seems like he's clearly playing for their team, that he won't even cop to the fact that it's odd that at Twitter he needs to restructure everything that he does in order to figure out how to best placate the FBI without being in trouble with them. And then also the entire game that you're playing would suggest the fact that you've kind of been intimidated by the government to acquiesce to requests. But even that he won't give into. And then the fact that there's all these different layers and structures just so that everyone can point their picture and go, well, they never told us we had to do that. It was always a suggestion because of something that was in violation because of our own rules. Yeah, if everyone's sitting down and they're figuring out how you can legally wink and nod and make a suggestion to a social media company that they better do what you, the government, wants, I mean, at a minimum, it's in a violation of the spirit of the law, and then you got to redo the actual wording on the law because you figured out another way to break the idea that government gives us free speech. Steven, I'm going to pull you on here. I know you walked away there for a second. Actually, no, I don't have the sound set up. Let me play this video, and then I'll pull you on. So here we go. Here is the one video from hours, I think for 7 hours. That's the wrong video. Hold on 1 second. I will have the right video. Oh, no, this was the right video. Here's the right video, and I watched 7, maybe 6 hours. I didn't watch 6 hours of this. I was listening to all of it in the car. Most of it was not this great, but this one pretty lawyer lady came in with some good insights. Let's give it a watch.
Chair recognizes Ms. Luna for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Roth, have you communicated with government officials ever on a platform called Jira? Yes or no? Real quick answer. We're on the clock.
Not
yes
to
or
the
no?
best of my recollection.
Not to
no.
your recollection? Great. If you did, in the event, communicate, who would have had access to this platform?
That's the nature of my confusion.
Okay.
Jira
Did you ever speak to government officials on Jira regarding taking down social media posts?
Again, not to the best of my recollection.
Can you explain to me why the federal government would ever have interest in communicating through Jira, mind you, a private cloud server, with social media companies without oversight to censor American voices? I want to let you know that this is a violation of the First Amendment, and the federal government is colluding with social media companies to censor Americans. Mr. Chairman, I ask for unanimous consent to submit these graphics into record. And Mr. Roth, I'm going to refresh your memory for you. This flowchart
Without
behind
objections
me.
ordered.
Thank you, Chair. This flowchart shows the following federal agencies, social media companies, Twitter, leftist nonprofits, and organizations communicating regarding their version of misinformation using Jira, a private cloud server. On this chart, I want to annotate that the Department of Homeland Security, which has the following branches: Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, also known as CISA, Countering Foreign Intelligence Task Force, now known as the Misinfo, Disinfo, and Malinformation, MDM. This was again used against the American people. The Election Partnership Institute, or Election Integrity Partnership, EIP, which includes the following: Stanford Internet Observatory, University of Washington Center for Informed Public.
I'm going to play mostly without commentary because it's only 4 minutes long. But he's at a minimum going to get busted here that the entire time through all these proceedings, he's basically saying that he doesn't have direct contact or other department had contact. People are making decisions. No, he never gets direct information, blah, 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 blah. And here it seems like he's getting busted outright for using other communication platforms that I guess would not log these communications. And so he would seemingly be in direct correspondence with government in regards to what they're looking for Twitter to censor, publish, downgrade, Invisiblock. All right, let's continue to watch.
Graphica and Atlantic Council's Digital Forensic Research Lab, and potentially, according to what we found on the final report by EIP, the DNC. The Center for Internet Security, CIS, a nonprofit funded by DHS, the National Association of Secretaries of State, also known as NASS, and the National Association of State Election Directors, NASED. And in this case, because there are other social media companies involved, Twitter. What do all of these groups, though, have in common? And I'm going to, again, refresh your memory. They were all communicating on a private cloud server known as Jira. Now, the screenshot behind me, which is an example of one of thousands, shows on November 3rd, 2020, that you, Mr. Roth, a Twitter employee, were exchanging communications on Jira, a private cloud server, with CISA, NASS, NASED, and Alex Stamos, who now works at Stanford and is a former security officer at Facebook, to remove a posting. Do you now remember communicating on a private cloud server to remove a posting? Yes or no?
I wouldn't agree with the characterization.
I don't care if you
that
agree.
this-
Do you?
All right, so let's just pause. That's Weasel answer number one. So he gets a simple yes or no. First, he was asked, do you ever communicate on this platform? He goes, no. She brings, I guess, direct evidence of the fact that he has, and he goes, well, I wouldn't agree with your categorization. Well, how do you recategorize whether or not you had a conversation on a platform? It seems like you did have a conversation on a platform, and that's also him not wanting to answer the question. Let's continue.
This is your stuff. Yes or no, did you communicate with a private entity, the government agency, on a private cloud server, yes or no?
The question was if I
Yes or
communicated-
no? Yeah, I'm on time. Yes or no?
Ma'am, I don't believe I can give you a yes or no.
Well,
answer
I'm
to
going
that
to tell you.
He doesn't believe he can give you a yes or no answer. And this, to me, is part of the issue with these, like, the whole game is that you bring up these people, you see if you can catch them in a lie, and if you finally catch them in a lie, they go, well, I don't think I can respond to that. You know, they might as well, at the beginning of these, instead of, like, having, I don't even know if they swear them in, but I would assume they do, but instead of swearing them in, they should just go, are you prepared to tell the truth, plea that you can't remember, say to the best of my knowledge, I say I don't know the specifics, and I don't agree with your categorizations, to help me God? That might as well be the way that they start these hearings. All right, let's bring Mr. Steven on. Mr. Steven,
What's up?
what's going on, buddy? How are you?
Good. I think I'm getting a little double speak.
You're getting double speak? I think if I just pull this down, you ain't going to get into double speak. You still getting double speak?
Check. No, we're good.
All right, cool. You got a little hum on your end, but whatever. You got a microphone there?
Yeah, check.
All right, it's okay. We got a little bit of a hum, but it's not too aggressive. Did you watch any of these Twitter proceedings?
No, just because my conclusion's the same as yours. No one ever gets in trouble from these. So you know, it'd like be watching like a dangerous sport, but you're guaranteed that no one's gonna die. It's like, well, then why am I
Right.
watching it? You know?
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair way to put it. Okay. Steven, I promise I didn't bring you on the podcast again just to hear me talk, but I want to set up this Scott Adams segment a little bit, and then I will allow, because you actually brought the receipts of why his analysis is completely wrong. But before we get into that, I do want to say, and we do have to come down from YouTube. So for everybody, you know, me and Steven, we're nice people. We just try and be respectful of the platform. If you're interested in continuing to follow the show live, it's both Twitter and Twitch. Robbie the Fire, all one word, or you can wait. The full episode will be up on Spotify later today. And the unsponsored segment, as always, is brought to you by the greatest comedy podcast sponsor of all time, YoKratom.com.